to tinfoil and tequila, where the wild ideas hit the floor. We crack the joke, then crack the code, and pour a little truth, then pour some more. If the story sounds too strange, that's when we turn up the flame. Tinfoil and tequila, tinfoil and tequila, where happy hour meets the rabbit hole. Tinfoil and tequila, tinfoil and tequila, come on in, let the chaos roll. No suit, no script, no boring line, just big laughs and a twist of line. Tinfoil and tequila, where happy hour meets the rabbit hole.
All right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Tinfoil and Tequila. I'm Larry. I'm your host in here tonight. And tonight I've got a special guest in here with us. I have Jerry Ash in here with us tonight. And Jerry, are you with us?
Yes, I am. How you doing?
I'm doing all right, Jerry. Welcome. Welcome. Glad to have you tonight. And I heard that...
What's up, everybody?
I heard you're bringing in the cavalry tonight, Jerry. Yeah, you got to...
Oh, whatever I can.
Yeah.
And everybody who knows me personally knows my nickname, Biggin.
Biggin, yeah.
Hey, got to give a shout out to Mattress Connection, because if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be doing this podcast right now. So everybody get down there and talk to Chad. Tell him Biggin sent you.
That's right. That's right. Y'all check out Mattress Connection over in Dalton, Georgia, over there. And
Yeah, 16 Fleming Street to be exact.
Yep. Absolutely. Y'all stop by, and
Now,
if you're ever in Dalton and you see the crazy dancing guy on the corner, well, that's Biggin. He'll wave at you.
Me waving, and I'll be doing kisses at the ladies like normal. I love that.
Yeah, always the ladies' man, huh?
Well, define ladies, man.
Well, it does depends. It all depends, right? Well,
right
guys,
circumstances.
yeah, absolutely. So tonight we're going to be talking a little bit about the gate and tag program. And if you're not familiar with it, hey, that's okay, because we're going to tell you all about it tonight. So imagine you're 10 years old. One day your teacher walks into the classroom, they call your name, they say, grab your things. You're taken down the hallway into another room, new teacher, different students, and then you're asked to go to the front office to do some testing. You meet with a doctor. The doctor starts doing some strange tests with you, some strange puzzles, some IQ tests, some pattern recognition, some logic games. Then you're told, hey, don't worry about it. Everyone has to do this. But not everyone that was in that other classroom, nor did everybody go to the front office. So it's now 40 years later, and thousands of former students are asking the question, what exactly was that all about? So tonight we're going to be talking about that. It's the gate and tag programs. And if you're not sure what that is, that's okay. Like I said, we're going to tell you all about it. So GATE stands for Gifted and Talented Education, and TAG stands for Talented and Gifted. Okay. So there's these programs, they've been going on in the 80s, the 90s, the early 2000s, and actually they are still going on to this day. And through my research on looking into some stuff for the show, I actually found out they're going on right here in North Georgia in our very school systems, right here in Murray County, Georgia. It's no longer called GATE or TAG. It's now called the Excel program. So, and the thing about it is that parents usually don't know that their kids are in this program. So ain't that weird, Jerry? That's a weird one, ain't it?
Well, Systems is known for not telling parents anything, so hey, I wouldn't
Hmm.
put it past them.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder if parents would know how many kids would actually get pulled out of school, huh? And how many,
I mean, it's
makes you
hard to
wonder.
tell. Like I said, certain issues today, nobody has to know about it, but it
Yeah. Yep.
is what it is.
So many secret programs, going on these days, and especially with kids, and that's what we're going to be talking about. This program specifically is targeting students in school, and it's disguised as a program that is basically telling uh, students that they have special unique gifts and they have like a high IQ, and whatnot. So we'll go into all those details here in a few minutes. But this program, some people may have heard of enrichment or magnet programs as well. Like I said, there was different tests that were being involved. Like I said, there were IQ tests, there were achievement tests going on. Teachers are recommending that students go through this. The students were doing creativity testing, problem solving stuff, and I want to ask the audience. I want to poll the audience and our listeners tonight. Have you ever been tested? Have you gone through this program before? Um, and were you called to the front office or put into a special classroom and having to do logic puzzles or these special critical thinking tasks or pattern recognition or these creativity debates or having to do creative writing? Um, so these are some of the things that these kids are doing, and they're going into these classrooms and being isolated, and they're being labeled as being gifted, or special, having unique abilities, and but
It almost makes me think of the X-Men and Charles Xavier trying to explain everybody's X gene to them, to be honest with you.
right, exactly, yeah, exactly. So that's yeah, it's like, hey, okay, well, this person has this ability, and we're gonna test it out, and we're gonna show you how it all works. But
You know, well, like he said, just like a muscle, you got to learn how to control it, or it will control you.
yep, yep, that's exactly right. So we're gonna be talking a little bit about this. I've got some audio to play here as well, and we're also going to be talking about a part of this gate program that involved a pink drink. And some people are saying
Hmm.
pink drink, like what in the world is that, and what does that involve? And that's okay. I'm going to tell you all about it, so you will be well versed into gate and tag programs and the little pink drink by the end of the show tonight. So,
And just so that all the listeners know, I'm kind of hearing this for the first time myself because I haven't really read fully into this, and I'm interested to know what it's all about fully myself.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And there's some things in here that I was just kind of browsing over when I was doing some research. I mean, I've known a lot about the program, but when I was pulling together some information for the show here tonight, I ran across some things. And I'm actually part of a Facebook group as well, on the GATE program. So there are thousands of people in this group that are just like me, that have been experimented on over the years, going through school. And
Now, I myself, I don't remember if I was pulled off and tested. I know, shoot, I've been on medications all my life for behavioral problems and certain issues that I've
Mhm.
had for being hyperactive. But I know growing up, I've always been a creative person. So it very well could be that I have, but I don't remember.
Well, Jerry, you're kind of creative, and the kind of creative that we're talking about are two different kinds of creative. Okay, so
Okay.
so
Well,
you might.
it looks like this is school.
Oh no, I'm just messing with you. But no, we got and
That fits easily.
and it's actually funny that you mentioned that, because a lot of these people that were part of the GATE program, they feel exactly like you, Jerry, because they they have foggy memories about the program, and some people don't even remember the program at all, but when they
Hmm.
hear certain things about the program, it triggers their memories, and
Huh.
they start thinking about it, and then they're like, oh yeah, oh yeah, hold on, I remember this time, but if you just ask them out of the blue about it, then they're not triggered. But there's certain words, certain things about the program that when they hear about it, it does trigger their memories, and then they start getting those memory recognitions, recollections, whatever you call them, that are coming back, and they start remembering different
Sounds
parts
like
of
a
it.
sleeper that you could
Yeah,
say a key and they trigger right then and there.
exactly. Right, right. And that's where a lot of this has come about. And what one weird thing too is that a lot of people that were in this program, this gate and tag program, was that everybody that, well, pretty much most of the people that have been in this program have had dreams about a place called Mall World. And what Mall World
Huh.
is it's an underground mall, and it's basically concrete. It's underground. You walk down some steps. It's kind of like underground Tampa, underground Atlanta, whatever you want to call it. And you go underground. There's like a city within the city, underground,
Oh,
and there's shops, there's stores, and I actually had a dream about it one time, and this was not really too long ago. It was maybe a couple months ago, and the dream that I had about Mall World is I walked down the steps and was out Mall World, and I was on a street, and I was just walking down the street, and there was all kinds of vendors like food trucks and stuff on the side of the road, but there was also
huh.
the normal mall stores that were in the brick and mortar buildings, but these all these food trucks were parked up and down the side of the streets in front of the stores. And what was weird is I was walking down the street all by myself. There were people in the food trucks and stuff and in the stores, but I was the only person walking down the street, and everything was quiet. Everything was just eerily quiet. I didn't hear no noise from anybody. There was like nobody talking. There was no vehicle noises. It was just completely eerily quiet. And I'm walking down the street, and it seemed like I
Ooh.
walked forever down the street, and it was like there was no
You
end
know,
to it. I
going back
just
to about certain words that trigger, something just now triggered in my mind. I remember as a kid having dreams about big, huge places where it felt like a giant mall and just me floating through it. I remember,
mm-hmm.
like I said, it's coming back to me now
Yeah.
that whenever I was a kid, I remember because I grew up with my grandmother, and I remember having dreams getting lost from her and people trying to keep me away from her in these places.
Really.
And it's just, yeah. So
Wow.
it's funny and interesting that you say something about a mega mall
Mm-hmm.
because I actually remember as a child having dreams like that. That's
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah. And since you mentioned that it happened to you as a child, it's very likely that you were also part of this gate and tag program in school. And like I said, a lot of people don't remember that, but a lot of people have these mall world dreams.
Hmm.
And they also have dreams about this bridge as well. And this bridge is like gigantic. It like goes way up into the clouds, and then there's a part of the
Wow.
bridge that also has a loop in it. So like you go and almost like you're going around, upside down a loop, and looping around in it. That's also a part of
Huh.
this bridge as well. And a lot of people have dreams about this like really tall bridge with this like loop in it. And that's really bizarre that everybody seems to kind of have these same dreams. I don't remember having the bridge dream, but I've
No,
actually
me
had
neither.
the mall dream on a couple occasions that I can remember. But
Now, I can honestly say that I do vaguely remember because, like I said, it's like you said earlier. It's all coming back to me.
hmm
It. I do remember having dreams about big malls and being lost in huge stores and store departments, and it did seem like everybody around me was weird.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah.
So
And
it's crazy.
that's a similar dream of, what these people have, and is just being some people have dreams about being lost in the mall, like you said. Some people have
Yeah.
dreams about working in the mall. Some people have dreams about just being at the mall. There's also a part of the mall that's I don't know if you know what back rooms are, but or seen the back
Yeah.
rooms movie or whatever, but it's just like rooms that just go on and on forever, and there's no real doorways or anything. It's just never ending. But there's a place in Mall World like that, and people have dreams about the back rooms of Mall World and being trapped in the back rooms. And there's also when they're in the back rooms area, there's a water park in there, and a lot of people are saying that that water park is like almost identical to the water park at Great Wolf Lodge. So yeah, which is really bizarre. And a lot of people have been taking family vacations recently, just this year, to Great Wolf Lodge, and it's triggering people, and people are having full out anxiety, panic attacks, and having to
Oh
leave
wow.
their vacations early because they're triggered by the water park at the Great Wolf Lodge. And it brings back this back rooms uh dream that they had, and it feels like they're living it in real life, and they're like, I can't do this, I gotta go. Like I'm like, that's crazy,
I
but it's
mean,
it's
I
all
can't
over
even
TikTok.
imagine
And
if they even hallucinogenics or anything to just say what what is going on here.
right, exactly. And since you mentioned hallucinations, they've got this. I mentioned the pink drink. That people were doing as part of this gate and tag program in school, and that's actually one of the side effects to this pink drink. So it's been said that this pink drink is supposed to be chemical. It's called, I'm trying to pronounce this. I'll spell it, but I'll also try to pronounce it. It's scopolamine, and it's spelled Scopolamine.
Huh.
And I'm going to tell you a little bit about what scopolamine is. It's primarily used for motion sickness, nausea prevention, post-operative nausea, and sometimes certain gastrointestinal and neurological applications. It belongs to a class of drugs called anti cholinerics, meaning it blocks the acetylcholine activity in the nervous system, which is important for memory, attention, automatic regulation, and cognitive processing. And at therapeutic doses, the effects can include drowsiness, dry mouth, blurred vision, dizziness, confusion, memory impairment, and disorientation. And at higher doses, the effects become much more severe, which includes delirium, hallucinating, impaired judgment, agitation, inability to form memories, and um, profound. I don't know. There's something in the way of that, but profound vision, something other. It looks like. It says historically, intelligence agencies and military researchers did explore various psychoactive compounds during the Cold War era, including during programs like MK Ultra, which we just had a show about MK Ultra. So if you guys want to learn more about MK Ultra and what that is and that CIA program, go back to our 2 episodes ago. We talked about MK Ultra and mind control. So that was that involved hypnosis, LSDs, barbiturates, stimulants, dissociatives, and compounds affecting suggestibility and memory.
CIA trying to make sleeper agents too.
Well, that's one thing that a lot of us have been actually talking about, Jerry, in the Gate and Tag program is What was their reasoning behind this program, and why were they doing this? Why were they testing us kids? And
Well,
is
the
there
only thing you can actually think of the reason why is they want mindless zombies to control the soldiers.
Mm-hmm. Right. And that's one of the things we've kind of been talking about too, kind of behind the scenes amongst us here in some of these Facebook groups. Is that,
Right.
is the CIA creating some kind of psychic soldier, so to speak? Like what were they looking for? Because one of the things that they were actually doing as part of this program is when you were in this gate program and you went up to the office and you were seeing this so-called doctor or whatever that was in there,
Yeah.
this doctor was like a CIA operative, that was there. So one of the things that they
Oh, I
were
could most
doing
definitely believe it.
was that they were checking your head, and they were like, hey, we got to check you for head lice, and let's check your hair. And what they were actually doing was on the back of your head, toward the base of your skull. Some people have like a special little indenture there, a special like little bump on the back of their head. Some people got it, some people don't. But they were checking for that special little bump or indenture that's there at the base of your skull. And, some people that had it, some people didn't, like I said. And that was one of the things. And I don't know what exactly that means or like why they were looking for that. But that's one of the things that we've kind of been talking about, is like, what were they like? What does the bump mean? Like, is it good to have the bump? Is it good not to have the bump? Like, what's that all about? And we still don't
Right.
have a straight answer for that. But that was definitely kind of a strange thing that involved these us students that were part of this experiment, this program. And but going back for a second, back to the scopolamine, whatever it's called, the pink drink, I'm going to call it, much easier to pronounce. um, so historically, that was discussed as being some kind of truth serum, and context is, and because the memory impairment and disinhibition that can alter the behavior, but actual scientific reliability of truth serums has always been questionable. In speculative and conspiracy oriented frameworks, this pink drink often becomes associated with behavioral control, trafficking fears, black ops, memory erasure, induced compliance, and
Hmm.
psychological destabilization. And because the drug sits at the intersection of chemistry, cognition, vulnerability, and altered consciousness. And culturally, us humans are deeply unsettled by substances that can interfere with our memory, agency, perception, or self control. And so
Well,
neurologic.
another thing about it is I noticed a lot of rise in mental health these days, and
Mhm.
so many people can't even explain why. I mean, if you look on TV and online and certain streaming services, I mean, there's a new pill coming up every day because the whole cliche, the side effects seem worse than what it's curing. So it makes you wonder all these years of being prescribed medicines and certain things that we've consumed, what harm has it done psychologically to everyone?
Yeah, yeah, you're absolutely right, because these different drugs. Well, when I say drugs, I'm talking about pharmaceuticals. Pharmaceuticals in general. But a lot of the stuff that people are given, these psych meds and different ADHD meds and things like that, like we really don't know what's in these things. We're being told that, hey, this is going to control this, this will fix this, but are they
Well,
sneaking
I,
in
for
other
one, can
things?
firsthand tell you
Mm-hmm.
about certain side effects because ever since I was a kid, I lived with my granny. She raised me, and we all know the whole cliche of, "Oh, they're just 8 years old. They're running around. Let them get the energy out." And like you said, you've got doctors like mine. My whole life told me that I was bipolar ADHD and all this stuff, manic depressant and everything. And Man, I've been on everything from Adderall to Ritalin. I've had medicines do everything from swell up my tongue to make me cry my eyeballs out and not know why.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
there ain't
Yeah.
no telling. There ain't no telling. And especially in our foods. You don't know. I mean, I've worked at a poultry plant where, they make chickens grow in 1 month and then shoot them up full of enough, hormones and all the stuff that we use to treat our food and everything and all the extra chemicals. Nobody really, sat back and said, what is it doing to damage people?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. What are the side effects from that? From all these injections that they're doing, from all these steroids and stuff that they're injecting into it.
And
And
look at that. If you look at some of our youth today,
yeah.
and no offense, I'm not trying to be some type of way, if you look maybe 20, 30, even 40 years ago, maybe say the early 80s, late 70s, of little girls, certain girls back then, they didn't really develop all that much. Today, a 13-year-old girl looks like a 25-year-old woman.
Yeah.
And it has
Yep.
to be the stuff she's eating to help her develop rapidly.
Yeah.
Like I said, if they can make a chick grow in 1 month to a full blown rooster or a chicken, so
Mm-hmm.
they can send it down the road to the chicken plant to process it,
Yeah.
then what kind of side effect would we have on our kids and our youth and even adults?
Yeah. And you're absolutely right, Jerry. I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head there because a lot of these a lot of the foods and stuff that we eat, and this is going to be another episode that we do as well, talking about the foods and the chemicals in foods and things like that too. So it's nice that you bring that up because that is going to be a future episode, talk about GMO and all that stuff. But yeah, I mean there's tons of chemicals in foods that are affecting youth these days because exactly like you said, kids are developing faster. They're hitting puberty at earlier ages. I remember growing up as a kid, we didn't hit puberty till we were like 15, 16 years old. Now kids are hitting puberty
Right. I
at
think girls and
11,
say
12 years old now.
you know.
Yeah. And it's just and we've definitely have seen that over the years. There's definitely stuff that's been changing, and it's because of all the GMO stuff and all the chemicals and stuff that they put into the foods. But that is changing. So with the help of RFK Jr. and President Trump, that is something that is
I,
being fixed and it's being addressed now. So
well,
that's good. It's just
I'm not really that political. I mean, I do have my views on both sides of the spectrum that I both like and dislike.
uh,
And honestly, that is a good thing to go through and make sure that what we're eating is healthy, because I know a lot of people right now that don't trust certain food items at the grocery stores.
right.
They have their own chickens to make their own so they can have fresh eggs. I've known people who hunt their own game so they can have fresh meat and know where it's coming from.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yep, that's exactly right. And Jerry, I wanted to play some audio real quick here about the pink drink. And this is a girl that posted an Instagram video about it, talking a little bit about the pink drink. So if it's all
Yeah.
right, I'm gonna try to play this real quick here, and I think it's just a few minutes worth of audio here. Let's see.
Yes, sir.
So bear with me just a minute while I get this queued up here. And
Sure thing.
so those that are listening to us, you might see a blank screen on your side. So that's okay. It's just because I've switched into my desktop audio here. So all right. So let me go ahead and try to play this here real quick. Hopefully y'all can hear this. All right, so we're back. So hopefully you guys were able to hear that video, that audio of the girl talking about the pink drink. And if
Unfortunately, we didn't hear any of it.
yeah, you may not have heard it, Jerry, for because the way that we're connected on the audio here, but our listeners should have been able to hear that on there. So, um, but yeah, it's and actually that word that I was trying to pronounce it, she pronounced it, and it's called scopolamine. So
Scope 'em.
scopolamine, yeah, and that's the pink drink. That's what she. But anyways, she goes. That girl that was in the audio, she goes by Declassified Psychic on Instagram. So if you guys want to check her out, her screen name, yeah, let's see there. Oh,
Yeah,
actually,
I'll have to look.
looks like she goes by Empress Kelsey 369. So it's EMPRESS and then Kelsey KELSEY 369. So you can check her out on Instagram if for those of you that are on Instagram. And actually, since I talked about Instagram, I have to say something that you guys are going to get a kick out of this one. So when I was originally setting up everything for Tinfoil and Tequila here, and setting up all of our social media accounts across all the platforms, I was trying my darndest to create an Instagram and a TikTok account, okay, for us. And I wanted to make sure that we were on all the platforms across the way. Well, I created, I tried to sign up for an Instagram account and it let me type in all the information. And as soon as I hit submit, it says, "We're sorry, we've closed your account." I'm like, what? Like I just opened it. How are you closing my account? I just opened it. And I'm like, what? Like, what did I do? You know? And I'm like, I hadn't even posted anything. And well, Instagram didn't like the name of our show. I think it was the tinfoil part that they didn't like. Or
You
maybe
think
it
it would
was,
have been?
yeah, maybe it was the tequila. Maybe they thought we were going to be, selling tequila or something. I don't know, but yeah, they wouldn't let us create the account, but TikTok let us create the account, and we had the account for less than 24 hours, and TikTok sent me an email and says, "Sorry, we've permanently banned you from the platform." And I'm like, "For what?" I'm like, "What did I do? All I did was create an account. Like I ain't even posted nothing yet, you know?" And it wasn't like I was posting some risque content or something. I'm like, heck, man, there's people on here half naked. I said, and y'all are allowing them to be on here. I said, all I did was create an account wanting to have a platform and a voice, for my show, I said,
Yeah,
I
technology. I'll tell you right now.
yeah. I'm like, what in the world? And so I filed an appeal, and the appeal may have,
Kyle Reese back in 1984. So
yeah, yeah. So, so I filed an appeal, and I was like, the appeal lasted maybe an hour, and they came back, they said, "Nope, the ban stands." I'm like, what? I'm like, okay.
that's
Like, so I tried to create an account again. Nope, same thing. And so, needless to say, we are not allowed for whatever reason on Instagram and TikTok. So they banned us pretty much instantly. So that's tells you how powerful our show is, huh? It's
Can
they
you
just
say
didn't like. Conspiracy. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they did not like the name of the show, so I think they knew what was up.
well, they know you're people. That means it blocks out all mind control.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. That means that we're
That was a late joke.
over here telling the truth.
I'm
But
telling you.
but yeah, so we're gonna go into our rapid fire segment here. I'm going to go over a couple did you knows here, and then we're going to get into our comedy, and Jerry is going to take over from there, and we'll see what Jerry's got up his sleeve here in a minute. But anyways, rapid fire here. So here's a little did you know. So the United States has no single national gate or tag program. Every state does it differently, and it's up to the individual states on how they run the gate or tag program. And also, did you know that some schools tested entire grades, others only nominated students? So, also, did you know that some districts have eliminated gifted programs entirely? That they are not allowed in some school districts. And also, did you know that many famous inventors, CEOs, astronauts, and scientists came through the GATE program? And also, did you know that online communities with tens of thousands of former GATE students are now comparing memories? So ask, why are there so many people revisiting these experiences decades later? And I think you hit the nail on the head there a while ago, Jerry, when you said that they're sleepers, that we're sleepers, that maybe we were programmed in elementary school and we're going to be used later in life here, some 40 to 50 years later in our life.
Well,
And
wrong. I'm no scientist. I've never went to college for any kind of degree, but there is one thing for sure, that the subconscious is separated from the conscious mind. And everybody, I don't know if all the listeners knows what a Freudian slip is, but where
mm-hmm,
you say something that you didn't intend to, but
mm-hmm,
it's something that just came out. So,
mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a possibility that all this testing was meant for us to not really remember, and that's why key little phrases is triggering.
Mm-hmm. Right. You're right. That's exactly right. And that's where a lot of these people's memories and stuff come in. Like I was mentioned earlier, is that certain people are triggered by certain things. It's just like, I was talking about Mall World earlier, and that triggered you for a memory that you had as a child
Oh,
growing up, and dreams that you were having. But
that's weird.
yeah, yeah, it's
Now,
very, very weird.
that experience this, do they have like premonitional dreams? Do they have like maybe dreams of the future, or maybe surreal dreams that they know that it's a dream, but it just seems so real?
They do, and actually, there was a I actually talked about this on our last episode, Jerry, when we did the
Mhm.
paranormal segment. It was a dream that I had that was real. I was like in it, like I was living the dream in real life. Okay,
Huh.
and I'll kind of go over it real quick here, and then we'll get into some comedy stuff here in a minute.
Yeah.
But anyways, the what the dream was it happened actually Easter Sunday of 2010 at sunrise. So, which was a very bizarre time to be having this dream, because that's when the resurrection happens, right? Is Easter Sunday at
Right.
sunrise. So, anyways, this dream that I had, it was actually I was talking to my deceased grandfather. So when I talked about this on our last episode, on the paranormal ghost and Bigfoot episode, so it, I was asleep at sunrise, okay, and
Yeah.
I was expecting. I lived in an apartment, and I was expecting the maintenance guys to come over to fix something in the apartment, but I had totally forgot that it was Sunday and that it was Easter. And at sunrise, I heard a knock on the door. It was like, knock, knock, knock on the door, and where the
Right.
bedroom, where the door was to the apartment, was right next to our bedroom window there. And so I was
Huh.
sound asleep, heard the knock on the door, and I sat up in bed, and I'm like, did somebody just knock on the door, and I'm like listening for a minute to see if there's another knock, and I'm like, no, I must have been hearing things, must have just been a dream. So I laid back down. Well, no sooner than I closed my eyes, getting ready to drift off to sleep, here's the knock on the door again. Knock, knock, knock. And I'm like, whoa, somebody is at the door. And so I set up and yelled through the window, because the apartment door was right there next to our bedroom window. And I yelled, I
Yeah.
said, yeah, I said, who's there? And and then a voice came back. He said, hey, it's me, Mike. And I'm like, Mike? I'm like, that's not one of the maintenance guys. I'm like, who the heck is Mike? And
Huh.
I didn't really know any Mike. I didn't have no friends named Mike or anything. I'm like, who's this Mike person? And I said, Mike. I said, Mike who? And he's like, it's Papa Mike. And that was my grandfather's name. His name was Mike Reed. and he
Oh,
passed away
wow.
when I was 5 years old, and he actually died 2 weeks before my sister was born, and my sister
Wow.
is 5 years younger than me. So, what I'm about to tell you in this dream was actually happening in real life. The only thing that was different between real life and the dream that I was having is that in real life I had this little CD player, this little boombox CD player, and in real life it
Yeah.
was actually in the on the top shelf in the closet. But in this trance that I was in this like dreamlike state, I guess you can call it, where I was talking to my grandfather, that radio was actually on the floor between the closet and the bed, but it wasn't plugged in and it didn't have any batteries. And he was using that as a communication tool to talk to me, and he could hear me through the radio and he could talk to me through the radio. That's how he was communicating
Almost
with me.
like Dennis Quaid, where he would talk to his son.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, and so he was using that as a communication tool. So he apparently had taken it out of the closet and set it on the floor and was using it to talk to me through it in this like trance, I guess, I'm going to call it, this trance like state that I was in. And so anyways, he came to me and I said, well, how you, no, let me back up a minute. So I was, at the time, I was a paranormal investigator at the time when this all happened.
Huh.
So my,
And I just wondered if that wasn't Dennis Quaid. That was actually that was a, oh my God, who is
that was the guy that
it?
had, his daughter was named Mel, and he's the one that
Yes,
invented the Mel
yes,
meter. Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
What is that? Michael Keaton. That it was on the tip of my tongue, and that's.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But
that
yeah.
sounds like the white noise.
Yeah, it was a very very unique experience. So anyways, as I'm hearing him, he's like, "Hey, it's Mike. It's me, Papa Mike." And I'm like, hold on, wait a minute. I said, I need you to identify yourself because I can't talk to things in my sleep because that's how demonic possession starts. You don't want to talk to stuff in your sleep. So that
Yeah.
my paranormal instincts kicked in, and I'm like, okay, I need you to identify yourself. I need to make sure that this is indeed Papa Mike. And I said, Papa, what's one thing that you and I used to do together, when I was a kid? And he said, Oreo cookies and milk. And I said, yep. I said, I knew it was him at that point. And so anyways, I said, well, how you been, Papa? And he's like, I've been good. He says, man, he says, you're really growing up. And he says, it's, really good to see you. And he says, he said, I've been to see your kids. And now granted, he died when I was 5 years old. Okay. So,
Right.
so he didn't know I had kids. So that proves that he's been watching and he knows that I had kids. And he said that he's been to see my kids. And he said, I've got some beautiful boys. And then he said, I've also been
Huh.
to see your sister and I've been to see her kids. Now, he died before she was born. He died 2 weeks before she was born. So that proves that your loved ones are watching over you and they know where you're at all times, and they know what's going on in your life. So, how did he know where she was at? And how did he know that she had kids? And how did he know that I had kids? You know?
Well, you
So,
could always say that it was maybe God through premonitions and dreams to give you a little bit of time with them. And
mhm,
who knows, it may well be because I mean, I myself have had spiritual encounters, both good and bad.
mhm,
And
yeah.
it's really that realm of you can't explain it. It just happens.
Right, right, absolutely. And with this particular dream that I had, not only did he visit with me and come and talk to me in person, because I think he felt that he was comfortable with me because of what I did. That I was a paranormal investigator and I studied the afterlife, and I was comfortable with it, and that he knew that I wouldn't be scared if he came and talked to me. But if he went and tried to visit another family member or talk to them, that he'd startle them. And that they would just shut down and not say anything and never tell anybody. But he
I
when
do. Some people have a sixth sense and others don't. And
mm,
it's kind of hard to explain that to some people who don't. that, there is a spiritual realm. There are those from the beyond that do reach out to us, and it's not necessarily a demonic thing. It could
Yeah.
also be a good thing, like I previous said. Maybe it's a divine intervention that the Lord has allowed you to have that time with them since you've lost them. So
Right.
you
Right.
never know.
Exactly. Exactly. And it's something that that will always, ponder is, why did that happen? Why did it happen on a certain date? Especially mine, that's extremely memorable, at on Easter at sunrise. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just something that I'll never forget. That'll always be with me for the rest of my life. And
I mean, might as
but
well say, yeah.
but there was one thing that was unique about this interaction with my grandfather too, is that this whole conversation, it didn't last but maybe a minute or two. It was really quick lived conversation, and he's just like, hey, after he said he visited my kids and visited my sister and her kids, and he said everybody's beautiful, and he says, I love you and I miss you guys, and I was like, I love you and miss you too, and he says, and I want you to get a message, he says, to my kids. He said, I want you to let my kids know that I love them and I miss them very much. And then I said, hi. And I said, okay. I said, I will definitely do that for you, Papa. And let me tell you, it was extremely difficult to be able to do that, to go to my aunts and uncles that were still living and tell them that their father that died many years ago when I was 5 years old, that their father came to me and wanted me to get a message to them that he loves them and misses them. And, some of my aunts and uncles looked at me like I was a lunatic, that I was nuts. But I'm like, hey, I'm a messenger. I'm a messenger from God. He's put me here. He's given me these unique abilities and these special connections. And I'm just a messenger. I'm just here to spread a message to you from the spiritual world. I said, you can call me whatever names that you want. You can look at me with whatever kind of views that you want. I do not care, but I am doing what's been asked of me to do. And so however you want to take it, that's completely up to you. But I'm here to give you this
And it
message. And
really help tell about that type of stuff.
mhm. But it was difficult because a few of my aunts, they broke down, they started crying, and they're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that. And I've had another encounter with my deceased grandfather as well, where he materialized in front of me at one of my aunt's houses one day. And actually, in that
Oh, wow.
same house, a week prior to my encounter, my cousin, whose mom lived in that house, he had an experience with our grandfather as well, and saw him sitting on the end of the bed when he got out of the shower. So yeah, it was. So me and my cousin both have had encounters with our grandfather since his passing. Both of the encounters were in the same house, about a week apart from each other. And then my second encounter with him was on Easter Sunday of 2010, um, which was, like I said, that's very unique. And another thing, since we're kind of
Oh,
talking about spiritual abilities and stuff too, is that I've actually had an out of body experience as well, and it actually happened to me while I was driving down I-75 one day, and
oh wow. That's a
what a heck of a
place to have an
time.
out of
I know exactly, that's what everybody says. It's like, what, you were driving and you had an out of body experience? I'm like, hey, and I was in full control of my vehicle at all times, I said, which was,
I guess that's
yeah, it was bizarre, and to this day I still don't know why it happened. I don't know how it happened. I mean, I've still got many questions that I ask myself, and ask the universe, so to speak, for answers. And I'm just like, why me? Why did you choose that particular moment? But and I'll go over it real quick and kind of tell you about it quickly here before we move on, because we're kind of running late on the show, but that's okay because it's not
no
timed or
problem.
nothing. But
discussion. This is awesome.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Since we're just kind of rolling into this, I want to kind of educate people about it too, but my particular out of body experience, I was driving down I-75, and I believe I was going northbound on 75, and this happened, I believe it was around like the Ringgold, Georgia area, somewhere around there. But I was going down 75. I'm just cruising. I've got the radio on. I'm just listening to music, just jamming, just having a good old time, just cruising down the road, right? Just normal Joe Smo on a normal day, right? Just going down the road. So I'm cruising, and then all of a sudden, like you snap your fingers, it's like boom, I was out of my body. I'm flying. I'm like stomach down, like flying like Superman, and I'm probably maybe about 50 foot or so above the car, and I'm like flying, like I'm going down interstate, probably 70, 75 miles an hour going down interstate, but my body,
Yeah.
my soul, my consciousness was out of my body and flying above it. And at the time when I had this out of body experience, I had x-ray vision, which was totally cool because I could see like the silhouettes of everybody's car. Everything was like black and white. And I could see like the silhouettes, like the framing of the car, but I could see through the cars, and I could see people sitting in the cars. They didn't look like skeletons. They looked like silhouettes of people, just like kind of like the cars look like. And I could see like kids in the cars, like playing on tablets and phones and things like that, as they're driving down the road. And I could see, some kids were like drawing, pictures and stuff, and or coloring in a coloring book or whatever. And I could see everything that everybody was doing in their vehicles, and people jamming to the radio, whatever, and I'm like, what in the world? Like, and this lasted maybe like a minute or 2 minutes or something like that. And so at the whole time, I'm still in full control of my vehicle. So my physical body was still in the car, and somehow I was still connected consciously to the body to still control that and still control the car. But at the same time, I'm like a separate being, I guess, a separate entity, I guess, in some manner. And I could see myself in my car jamming to the music and everything, just cruising along. And like I said, this lasted maybe about a minute or two as I'm flying above the car and just kind of keeping in sync with the car. And then after about a minute or two, like you snap your fingers, bam, I'm back in my body. And as soon as I got back in my body, I was startled, like I was scared, and I immediately pulled off the first exit that I came to. And I don't remember exactly where I was at. I was somewhere, and like I think it was like Ringgold, Fort Oglethorpe area, something like that, there in North Georgia. But I immediately pulled off at the next exit I came to, and I got out, pulled in the gas station. I got out, I'm like wiping my eyes, and I'm like feeling myself, and I'm, I'm just like, like what happened? Like, am I here? Like, I just felt like I was a ghost for a minute, and I was trying to just collect myself,
Check your phone,
Yeah.
like the chosen.
Yeah, I didn't like feel like myself, like I felt, different, or felt like I was just like, what happened, and I was kind of scared, kind of startled, because I'd never experienced anything like that, and for it to happen while I was driving, was was even more terrifying. And know that I was still in control of my vehicle, and I never crashed, or crashed into anybody. And I was just like, whoa, what just happened, and it was a weird experience.
Intervention happens. You just got to go with it.
Right. And I did, but I know one thing you mentioned earlier too, Jerry, was that you were talking about, people in this in the gate and tag program, you were asking if, they have like premonition dreams and stuff. And yes, that is something that a lot of people have been having as well, that have been in this program. Is a lot of people have premonition dreams where they're like, oh my gosh, like I'm going to get in this like terrible vehicle accident or whatever, I've got to reroute my trip,
I remember, I didn't know it until I actually saw it, because a lot of people who know me know that sometimes I will stop and well, I mean, the only way I can say is deja vu moment,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and like I said, I was raised by my granny, and I didn't know at the time when I was a kid. She was always a strict woman. You wasn't allowed in certain areas, and I can remember as a child, having certain dreams of people going in and out of her washroom where she kept, where she did her laundry and everything. And, she had a pet peeve about somebody being in her stuff. And in the dream, it's like, I
Mm-hmm.
can't understand her going in and out of the washroom. And then cut to March 1st, 2013. My granny dies, and then all of a sudden the family's coming up. They're taking stuff out of her house, and then, I was sitting with my aunt, and I just, wow, fell days backwards to say, because even my aunt noticed, like, she, that my first name's Jerry, my middle name's Keith, and people who really know me very well can go, they call me by my middle name, and my aunt basically, she looked at me and she stopped for a second, said, Keith, you look like you just saw a ghost. And that's when I started, I mean, I was tearing, sobbing up, looking at my aunt going, I dreamt this. I seen this sight before.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one, because like you said, the premonitions, the vivid dreams, the mall world, it's like you don't realize it until it hits you in the moment.
Right. Right. Yeah. And that's where, a lot of this, like I said, a lot of people have these weird dreams, these weird memories and stuff, these weird recollections of things that are coming back to them, and there's certain things that trigger them, and
Oh
for
yeah.
instance, I was talking about the Great Wolf Lodge, a while ago. People are getting triggered when they go to take family vacations at Great Wolf Lodge. I mean, that seems like a beautiful, awesome place to visit, but when people go there, they're like living in terror, for their vacation. It's like, who wants to go on a vacation to be in terror,
I mean,
you know?
vacation is relax. I mean, you can stay home and get hell and stress.
Exactly. And us men, that have wives or girlfriends, we can tell you all about that. We can tell you all
Unfortunately,
about the horror stories. But yeah. Well, uh, Jerry, I think it's time for some funnies. You got some funnies for us tonight?
like I said, when you first told me about the gifted children, I mean, that's exactly where my mind went to. I'm a big comic book fan. I love the X-Men, I love Marvel and stuff. And right after you said gifted children, that's the thing I thought of. It's like, what is Charles Xavier going around the schools, and then, is he rounding up the mutants with the X gene? Listen, you have a gift. It's like a muscle. You need to control it, or it will control you. And
Mm-hmm.
then that's exactly what I did when I first heard that, because telekinetic and abilities, I mean, it's one thing to be creative and do creative writing. I mean, like you said, a lot of our talented people and CEOs, and I'm pretty sure Elon Musk and everybody's probably been through this program, but the fact that the CIA is training Jedi Knights is what it sounds like.
Right.
It's like
Exactly.
it's like stand on your head and move rocks with the force. There you go. A
Uh-huh.
Jedi you will be.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy to think because, like you said, MK Ultra, and as far back as, I mean, even in the Revolutionary War days, they did secret agents, and they had different secret hiding place. And of course, we know
Yeah.
about masonry and, and all that.
Yeah.
But it's weird and wild to know that from the 1980s to even today, the CIA is training Jedi Knights, and we're sleeper agents. It's crazy.
Yeah, yeah, and they're through these programs. One of the things too that I don't think I mentioned it, but they were also testing the kids for remote viewing capabilities as well. So that was
Viewing.
something. Yeah, so remote viewing where they can sit, like, let's say they're sitting here in North Georgia somewhere, but they can remotely view. They just close their eyes and they visualize themselves at a different time and place, and they can put themselves in, let's say, like Honolulu, Hawaii, and they can spiritually like take their being through the universe to Honolulu, Hawaii, where they're consciously in Honolulu and they can see everything that's going on there, but they're not physically there. They're only there in spirit, but they can see everything as if they are physically there. So that's pretty wild.
That yeah, Charles Xavier's going around rounding up the mutants.
Yeah. That's for sure. That's for sure. He's making his rounds everywhere, ain't he?
I mean, that is, it is weird because you know, what was it? Stan Lee had a show called Superhumans, and it
Mhm.
makes you kind of
Yeah.
wonder, did those people go through that as a kid? Because there's one guy who can withstand temperatures hotter than 200 degrees. I mean,
Yeah.
it's seriously, actually, everybody and all the listeners, really, I mean, I'm going to read more into it myself. I mean, I'm over here amateur hour trying to act like I really know what's going on, but no, I myself want to look more into this because maybe even more to trigger my memory to say, did I get trained as a Jedi and I don't remember?
Yeah.
Did I
You're
move stuff? Not move stuff? I mean, gee.
Yeah, and that's exactly why we do these shows, Jerry, is because we want to not only educate our listeners about these different topics that we're talking about, but we
Oh,
want
yeah.
people to be aware that these things are happening. These things are all around us. This is not something that is just made up. We try to bring forth the facts. We try to bring forth the sources. We try to talk share the truth about these things, because a lot of these programs and a lot of these things that we are discussing here are things that have been hidden from the general public, that they haven't been talked about. You don't hear them on the news. You're not going to hear them on Fox News or on CNN or whatever that you listen to every night. You're not going to hear it on your favorite reality show. You're not going to hear it on the Comedy Channel. You're only going to hear it
Kid,
here.
their minds is not really a topic for discussion on CNN.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's can you imagine, I mean, Fox News has been getting a bit conservative, so I'm looking at Fox News. Hey, they've really switched gears here the last year or two here, and really starting to spread some more truth and be more conservative. They still got a ways to go, but they're getting there. They're getting there compared to all the other media that's out there. But some of the favorite media I like to listen to, Jerry, is I like to just give a quick plug for our friends over at RSBN, which is Right Side Broadcasting Network. I've had an opportunity to
Right.
actually meet them in person. They actually came
No.
to the Dalton Convention Center. They had there was an America First rally that was going on at the convention center in Dalton. So I went over there to it, and I actually got to meet Marjorie Taylor Greene. I got to meet Matt Gaetz, Jim Jordan, some of the other conservatives over there, and I actually got to meet the crew from RSBN, from Right Side Broadcasting Network. And I've listened to them quite a bit, watched them a lot when Trump is doing his rallies. I was always on RSBN, and was the place. They were always there, front row seats, and
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of, I don't know how you feel about Trump. I mean, I have my mixed emotions, but I honestly, it was great to hear an actual president speak live. What was it? Whenever the time he came to off of Airport Road in Dalton,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
I got to hear him. Believe Donald Trump Jr. was there, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and it's really, whether you vote left or right. I mean, a chance to hear the president speak live is just once in a lifetime event. You got to go.
absolutely, absolutely. I wish I could have made it. I really wanted to go, but I was actually out of town when that was happening. So, but yeah, I wanted to
I
go
mean,
so bad. Yeah.
either side of the spectrum when it comes to politics. I really try not to get into that, but you know, even if it would have been Barack Obama or Joe Biden saying, "Hey, I'm coming to give a speech," it's like, "Hey, I'm going to go see the president." I really don't agree with him, but it's the president.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You only get that, small opportunity sometimes, and it's just you got to take it when it comes. But
Yes, sir.
but yeah, so I wanted to take a minute to before we kind of start wrapping things up here, to kind of ask the viewers some questions. So I know we're not going to get live feedback from our viewers, but I
Right.
wanted to go ahead and share our contact information so you guys can send us an email or text message or whatever here to the show. So once you guys go ahead and grab your pen and paper, open up your notes on your phone or whatever, and go ahead and take down our contact information. I'm going to give you our website. I'm going to give you our email address and our phone number. And then the phone number you can call or text on that number. If you call it, you're going to reach our voicemail. So just leave us a message. We'll get back to you. And you can also send us a text, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. But now that you've got your pen and paper or your notes opened, our website address is really simple. It's tinfoilandtequila.com. Don't ask me to spell that for you because I could not tell you. No, I'm just kidding. So tinfoil is TINFOILAND, and then tequila. Tequila you drink. You should have had your glass of tequila for the show tonight. So it's TEQUILA and then .com. So tinfoilandtequila.com. That's our website. Our website is a work in progress, as I've told you all on the other shows. So I'm still working on that. So I haven't really had much time to work on the site here lately, but that we'll have a nice site up here soon. But our email address is studio, that's STUDIO, at tinfoilandtequila.com. So you guys can shoot us an email there. And also our phone number is 706 222 3889. That number again, I'll give it to you again. It's 706 222 3889. And you can call and text on that number. That'll reach the studio here at Tinfoil and Tequila. And I'll get back to you as soon as I can. But I wanted to ask you guys some questions. All right. And you guys can comment on Facebook, on Rumble, on Twitch, on YouTube, on Spotify, wherever you're listening to us at. I want you to post the comments on this show on whatever platform that you're listening to us on. And I want you to answer some of these questions. All right. So here are the questions. First question is, were you in GATE or TAG? Or are you a student now in school and are you in the Excel program? Or a similar program that could be called something different at your school? Are you being tested, like doing pattern recognition tests or special education classes at your school? Or have you done these? So I want to know, were you part of one of these programs in school? If so, I want you to let me know what year that you were in the program. If you can remember what year it was, and also what state that you were in. So, there's 50 something states, right? 51 states, I think.
Yeah.
They're saying now 52 states. I've been hearing all kinds of different numbers, so I don't even know how many states we got these days. Seems like they just keep adding them, and I'm like, where are these states coming from? I always thought that we had 50 states, but I'm hearing like 52 states. I'm like, where's these other 2 states at? Like, I don't know, but people, I think it's just people that can't count. Oh, I tell you. So one of the other questions I have is, what do you remember from the program? What do you remember? And were your classes different? So did you have different classes? I mean, I know most people switch classes from like math to social studies to science or whatever, but were you in one of these special education classes, one of these gifted and talented classes? If so, what were the classes like? We want to know, like, what do you remember from being in a class? And do you remember ever taking any kind of unusual test that seemed to have test abilities that may not have been normal? And next question is, do you think the internet has exaggerated this mystery? And the last question is, what is your strongest memory? What is your strongest memory? So we want to know. So you guys, I want you to answer those questions. Were you in GATE? What year? What state? What do you remember? Were your classes different? Did you ever take unusual tests? Do you think the internet has exaggerated this mystery? And what is your strongest memory? So I want you to post it in the comments on your favorite social media platform, wherever you're listening to us at. So we should have comments open on all of our shows.
I want to know what everybody cumulatively has got to say. Myself, I'm really curious. So
Yeah.
that it is in. I can't wait to know.
Now, if you now, Jerry, I know you wanted to learn more about the Gate and Tag program and kind of wanted to hear a little bit more about it. And I'm going to
Sure.
give this to you and also to our listeners.
Yeah.
But if you're on TikTok, get on TikTok and search for Gate on TikTok. There are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of videos, people talking about the GATE program and their experiences and stuff about the GATE program on there, talking about the pink drink and all that. So so TikTok is a great platform to get educated about GATE and learn more about it. And there's people on there that actually have a series of videos where they've done multiple videos and they've put it in a group of all these different series of them talking about the GATE program and doing different videos and discussions about it. And then, of course, on those videos, you can go into the comments and you can read what other people are commenting on the video and other people that have had similar experiences and stuff as well. And then you can, of course, link to their TikTok and see what they're talking about and so on, So that's a really good platform to, if you're into the kind of stuff that we're sharing here on Tinfoil and Tequila. TikTok is a great platform for that, for doing research and kind of listening to other things about it. But yeah, so we're running about 20 minutes late here, but like I said, the show is not timed. But we're running a little bit over today, but that's okay. We've had some great discussion here, and I know we had Jennifer in here a couple of weeks ago. We ran about 20-30 minutes late on that episode too, just because we had a great discussion. We had a lot of stuff to talk about, and it's hard to cram all that into an hour. Heck, we could sit here for probably 2 or 3 days straight and have some great conversation.
Part of those kind of
conversations.
Certain substance. It's like what, but
and if we talk for that long, Jerry, we'd probably lose a few listeners and probably have some people fall asleep on us, and
Hey, brother, like I said, it's just amazing, and I'm ecstatic that I got to be a part of the conversation. Can't wait to be invited back again.
Yeah, absolutely. I hopefully we'll definitely have you back here again, and we'll get you scheduled back in here, and for another episode coming up here in the future. And next week, I wanted to I'm still kind of up in the air what I want to talk about for next week's episode. So I was thinking of maybe talking about HARP and weather manipulation. I think that'd be a great discussion. Educate people about that, about how our weather's controlled and all that. So yeah. So that's probably what next week's talk is going to be about. So y'all be prepared to learn about HARP and weather manipulation and cloud seeding and all that. And if you want to learn about it in advance, I recommend you do some research and do not use that big search engine that starts with the big letter G on there, because they filter out most of the truth and good articles. So if you want to do some good digging, I recommend using DuckDuckGo search engine. So they give you all of the internet. They don't filter out the truth. And also, like I said,
Well,
take a look on TikTok as well. And
the weatherman, if anybody has ever been out on a real sunny day, no clouds in the sky, and all of a sudden you see a tiny little cloud, and the next thing you know, it expands to look like the helicarrier from Marvel, that's an artificial cloud.
mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. And all those streaks that you see in the sky all the time up there, and you see them
Yes.
planes spraying them big old long trails in there, and that's been a controversial thing. I remember growing up, as a kid, in the years, and I've been kind of, growing up in the 90s, early 2000s and stuff, and I've been hearing a lot of talks about people talk about chemtrails, over the years.
Yeah.
And
Out of nowhere, all of a sudden Prince died when he started talking about those too.
Yeah, yeah, and you get shut down, and you get deplatformed and silenced, and when you're out trying to share the truth about it. But one thing I do got to say, and we'll talk about this next week on the show as well when we start talking about weather manipulation, was that just within the last, I think it was a couple months ago, or at least within the last year, I remember there was a guy. There's a company called Rainmaker, and the CEO of Rainmaker was testifying in front of Congress about weather manipulation and cloud seeding. And they actually subpoenaed him to come into court to talk about what he does for the federal government, and that he's flying planes into the ionosphere, and his planes are spraying chemicals. And they asked him, okay, well, what kind of chemicals are you spraying up there? Well, he's naming off all these chemicals, and barium and aluminum and all these different heavy metals. And so they're like, okay, well, what exactly happens, when you're spraying these chemicals, and what are you doing? Why are you doing this? Like, these things are harmful to people, And he says, well, we're spraying these
Still want to
things,
go
and I'm sorry.
nickel and lead. I was just saying, nobody. I mean, it's just good to go breathe nickel, lead, and certain metals spraying it in the air. I mean, why not?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, why are they're harmful? Why are
Straight up.
Yeah, and they got and one thing is that when they're spraying the stuff is, like I said, we'll talk more about this next week, but when they're spraying it, what they're doing is it's like liquid metal. And so if anybody knows that, pretty much any kind of metal is conductive, to electricity and current and frequency, right? So that's what they do, is they're blasting this liquid metal, and they're manipulating it. They're able to change its properties and stuff to do whatever they want. So they can make it rain, they can make it windy, they can create a tornado, they can create a hurricane, they can diffuse them as fast as they create them. So I mean, there's a lot of stuff. And if you haven't seen the new Twister movie called Twisters that came out, I highly recommend that you guys watch it, because in that movie they show you weather manipulation going on in there, where the people are trying to destroy the big tornado before it hits town, and they actually put a truckload of silver iodide into the tornado, and it diffuses the tornado, and it stops the tornado. It just completely stopped the tornado in its path when they drove the truck full of silver iodide into the tornado. So they are literally put it into the movie, showing you weather control and weather manipulation and how they can do stuff right in the movies. And people are just so blind to it. Yeah. They're like, oh, it's just a movie. No, there's actually, when you look at movies, there's a lot of truth in the movies. All these sci-fi movies that you think are just sci-fi or fictional, there's a lot of truth in those, the aliens and all the stuff that's going on. Yeah.
they predicted FaceTime. I mean, Captain Kirk was talking on a cell phone. I mean, there was
Mm-hmm.
so much stuff that they come up with that we do now and use on a daily basis that seemed like science fiction. It was a bunch of bupkis.
Yeah. Well, you remember Dick Tracy and him talking to his watch on there?
I,
You know?
yes, I do, and I also remember James Bond doing it.
Yeah, exactly. And now it's real
I
life.
mean,
We talk to our watches,
it's
you know. It's like wow. It's like yeah. It's like how long has this technology been out? You know, if we, you know, I'm growing up in the 80s and 90s watching Dick Tracy, you know, cartoons, and you know, he's talking to his wristwatch, and now here we are in the 2000s and we got, you know, wristwatches that we talk to. It's like, okay. It's like, yeah, you guys have had
funny
this
is
technology for a long time.
it's the 90s, and we have yet to see those.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What about the flying cars, Jerry? Yeah, we haven't
You
really
know
seen the
what?
flying cars yet.
It's probably not going to get there just yet. And honestly, just like everybody else, whenever the iPhone come out, the rich elite's going to get it first, and then now every homeless person on the side of the road begging's got an iPhone. So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's only a matter.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just a matter of
I
time
mean,
till it comes out.
we fun with with dial up, and then now we got instant internet that we can't live without.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, everybody's gotta be on the internet, and that's the latest greatest thing, right? Everybody's gotta have the internet.
Honestly, if of Hotel California, we're all prisoners here of our own device.
Yeah. Yeah. That's for sure. Well, yeah. Do you have any final words for this evening before we cut out of here, Jerry?
I just wanted to say it's been a thrill. I'm glad you had me on. I hope all the people that I've told, friends and family, if you clicked on the link and you've been listening, hey, good. Also, got to plug the Mattress Connection one more time. 601 Fleming Street. Come down there. We're beside JAS Tobacco Outlet. And, on a good, clear day, if everything's all right, I'll be out there waving, trying to get people to come in. Remember, if you do buy a mattress, ask for Chad. That's my boss man. And of course, if you let him know I sent you, not only will you get a deal, I will get help as well. And you know, and not to mention, just hey, this has been great. I am a little nervous. It's been a great hour and a half, and come out and
Absolutely.
see us.
Yeah, and just for those that are listening, that address that Jerry gave is actually in Dalton, Georgia. So for those of you that might be listening abroad and not local to North Georgia here, that's in Dalton, Georgia. So just
Now,
had to put that out there for.
two stores. One's in Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia,
Yeah.
and one's in Chattanooga, Tennessee, off of Gun Barrel Road. Either one, sometimes I'm up at not Fort O, but earlier today, I was not in Dalton today, and I know there was a lot of people disappointed not to see me out there, but come up to Gun Barrel Road at either location. Let them know that I sent you. Let them know that it's big and Biggin. A long history behind that name, really.
Yep, and we all know you as the dancing guy on the corner with the sign, right?
Trust and believe, people, I will be back out there between the weather and as we was talking about weather manipulation, it's been unpredictable here lately, and Biggin's job
Yeah.
is at risk. So, but
That's for sure.
well, Larry, man, this has been great. I've enjoyed every minute of it, man.
Yeah, well, certainly glad to have you, and like I said, definitely look forward to having you back again here in the near future. Next week, we're gonna have special guest Michael Bullock in here. He's a Chatsworth native, so
All right.
he's gonna be dropping in here, and when I was talking to Michael, it's funny because he's he's like, he says, I think he said his dad or his grandpa or something owns the little peanut stand down there at Ralston's Corner, down there at 136 and 411 down there. And I said, yeah, I've been
I
by
know.
there a few times. I said, I know where that little peanut stand is. I said, yeah, I've been by there, got some boiled peanuts quite a few times. But another thing he was telling me, he says, you can find me on any given morning sitting there at the Hardee's in Chatsworth. He says, sitting there with a bunch of old men sitting there cracking jokes and just telling jokes every morning. I said, well, I'll have to stop by there one morning and meet with you, in person. I said, and, half of my special guests, I just talked to them on the phone or through Discord or something, and never really met anybody in person, and it's nice to be able to put a face to the name. And I mean, I see you, Jerry, standing out in the corner when I drive by and beat my horn at you and wave at you or whatever, and you probably don't even know who it is that's passing you, but because so many people beep the horn. But yeah.
Yes, I try my best to acknowledge most of everybody that comes by. But like you said, when I'm in the moment doing my thing, it's just where I'm at doing.
Yeah, exactly. Just doing your thing and having a great time doing it, huh?
It's really that is truly what it is. It's just me out there for 4 to 5 hours a day, just bored. And normally people who do the job I do, they stand there, they're on their phone, they may wave once or twice, and I
Yeah.
made it a point to, hey, here I am. Hey, how you doing? I'll walk up to people's cars and just talk to them. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I have seen you do that. I was sitting there at the corner the other day, and I was right there coming off of Fleming Street and get ready to turn onto the Dalton bypass there, and you were standing across the way, and there was an older lady that was stopped in an SUV there across the intersection from me, and I seen you walking up there at a window, and you're waving at her through the window and trying to get her attention, and she's trying her darndest not to look at you, and I'm like, how can you not look at him? He's standing right there at your window.
Such
Yeah.
moments when there for maybe a minute or two, I'll give them little weird looks, and if
Yeah.
eventually I can't get a reaction, I'll just move on and go to the next person.
Yeah.
It's really
Yeah.
a mix. I mean, I get most, I would say about maybe 75% to 80% of the time, I've got people going, blowing horns, waving, trying to even get my attention. I'll do what I can. And then, of course, hey, I hold nothing against anyone, and I'm not easily offended. There's some people out there that, yeah, they're not into it. And you know what? God bless those people anyway, because they have the right to their opinion, and not everybody's going to like you, and that is normal.
Right. And that's exactly right. Yeah. You can't make everybody happy, and there's going to be people that are going to be fuddy duddies, let them be fuddy duddies in their own little fuddy duddy world,
I mean, I I don't want to put them on blast, but the gray building across from the store, I guess they got a little peeved because I've been making the trucks blow their horns and everything, and
Yeah.
I try not to be much of a nuisance. But ever since then, things have been okay, and I haven't heard nothing more from them. Like you said, there's always going to be a fuddy duddy in the crowd. There's always going to be that one person who's not going to get it. And like I said, that is perfectly all right. I love them too.
Right. Absolutely. That's the way to be. You gotta have love in your heart, even when there's hatred, and dislike, and discord, you gotta still have love.
That's that's right.
But yeah, I just want to let our listeners know that you can find this show on your favorite platforms where you like to listen to podcasts, except for Apple. I'm going to try to get the podcast on iHeartRadio as well. I had a podcast years ago. It was a daily news podcast, and I was on iHeartRadio as well. But right now we are on Spotify, so you can find our show on Spotify. You can also find us on YouTube, Rumble, and Twitch. So you guys can find us there right now. I think that's enough for now. That's enough to keep up with. Especially doing it all by myself. So we are live on Rumble and Twitch for every show. We were doing Facebook, but I stopped doing the Facebook lives But I will be posting a link on our Facebook page for each show, so you guys can still check out the show. I'll probably link that to over to YouTube or Rumble, so you guys can check us out there. But if you want to catch us live, Twitch and Rumble live, and then Spotify and YouTube, I manually upload the audio clips over there, so you guys can listen to those usually within 24 hours of the show. So I apologize for those that wanted to catch episode 4 last week, the paranormal ghost and Bigfoot, because I didn't upload that show until yesterday. So I was like a week late uploading that. And I totally forgot. It just totally slipped my mind. I thought I had uploaded it, and then I looked and I'm like, wait a minute, where's episode 4 at? I don't see it online. And I'm like, whoops, let me get that posted. So I apologize to everybody for not posting that sooner, but that is live on there now. Episode 4 is on there. So this is episode 5. This one here is the Gate and Tag program. So if you didn't catch us live, please listen to the recording. Hope you guys enjoy the show. Hope you guys stay listeners. We love each and every one of you. And please tell your friends, families, and your coworkers about us. Let everybody know that we're out here, and help us get known and get our name out there. And we want to make this a great podcast, and we want to have a great time doing it. We love the energy that our special guests like Jerry bring on to the show here. And like I said, hope to have you back here soon, Jerry, and we'll get you scheduled back for another episode. But yeah, other than that, I guess we'll go ahead and end the show for this evening. I want to thank you, our special guest, Jerry, for joining us tonight. I had a great time, and I want to thank each and every one of our listeners for listening, wherever you're listening at, on whatever platform. Thank you guys so much, because without you guys, we wouldn't have a show. So we're doing it for you. So thank you. And also, if you're interested in being a part of the show, we are looking for sponsors. So we do have sponsorships open for the show. You can reach out to us by email, studio@tinfoiltequila.com, or shoot us a text message or voicemail at 706-222-3889. We're also looking for people to be contributors to the show. So if you want to share a story, an article, a video, audio clip, whatever, send it to us by email, text message. We'd love to hear from you. Or even if you just want to drop by and say, hey, give us a shout out, we'd still love to hear from you there as well. So we'd love to be, have that interaction with the show, in other words. So we love to have you guys. But anyways, we're going to go ahead and cut out of here. I want to thank you all so much for listening to Tinfoil and Tequila. I'm Larry, and there's Jerry.
It's big.
And big.
Peace of my body. I'll blow a kiss through the phone to every one of y'all, and it's been an absolute pleasure to do this.
Absolutely. And thank you so much, Jerry. And Biggin, we hope you have a wonderful evening. God bless you, brother. And we'll talk to you soon.
Well, thank you for having me on, Larry, man. I've enjoyed everything. Like I said, this has been great.
Absolutely. Thank you all. God bless.